Oh, we're live? Okay, sorry. Hey, we're live. This is Legends of Tabletop. Thank you for joining us. And this is my first time doing an intro. And I have with us today Dave Felton and Sara Bardi of Lovecraft E-Zine artwork fame. Welcome to you both, and welcome to the viewers who are watching. And I also have my friend and business partner, Legends of Tabletop extraordinaire, John Haremza.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. Now, you're both involved with the latest Lovecraft, Mike Davis's Lovecraft E-Zine Autumn Cthulhu Kickstarter, correct?
Yep.
All right. And Sara, what's your involvement in that? You have some beautiful artwork there.
Yes, I was asked by Mike Davis to create 3 illustrations, both for the Kickstarter campaign, so for promotional purposes, and also the same artworks, but in black and white, to be printed inside the book once it's printed.
Okay, cool, sweet. Now, do you have anything you can hold up to the viewers at home and show us real fast?
Let me see. I mean, I don't have them in paper, but I got the files.
Okay.
And I heard that there is a way to share them.
Yeah, on the left-hand side.
Okay, Steve.
You see that?
Hey.
Yeah, it's the share screen.
How's it going?
What's up, sir? We have Steve Santiago. He's chiming in from California.
Howdy.
So we have people from everywhere.
Yeah.
Nice.
Literally. Let me see if I can share the pictures.
All right. Yeah, there should be a little screenshot.
Yeah.
On there.
Because I got all of them in a folder. So, okay. So it's. Let's try. I don't know what's going to happen. Can you see my desktop?
Yeah, I can see myself.
You can see yourself. Okay, so
Yeah.
just let me open the file.
There you go.
Let me see. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
cool.
see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is for the story After the Fall by Jeffrey Thomas. Sorry.
Okay.
This is for Lavinia in Autumn. And yeah, these are distinct pictures. I don't want them to move. I don't know how to stop that. Okay, just take it like this. Okay, so this one is for The Night is a Sea by Scott Thomas, and this one is for the poem by Anne K. Schwader. I think her name is going to be pronounced like that. I really like her poetry.
That's really cool.
And the last one is, as I said before, from After the Fall by Jeffrey Thomas. And they both were very happy about my illustrations, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, and rightly so. Yeah, that's really very beautiful. Love the colors.
Oh, can I stop the... Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Yeah, once you get the hang of it.
Yeah. First time using Hangouts. Sorry, guys.
Those are great illustrations.
Thank you. I really love yours too.
Oh, you probably mean Dave's. Dave's did the black and white one of Cthulhu. That one?
Yeah, I know, but I've seen yours too. I mean, the cover of Casilda song by...
Oh, yeah.
The one edited by Pulver.
Yeah, thanks.
Did we just lose John? John, are you back? What the... Well, at least we're still live, which is good. Let me text him and find out he's having problems with his laptop. Let's see. Lost my internet. Froze. Okay. We might have to restart this. We'll see. We're still live. We'll hold off on the questions until we figure out whether or not we need to restart this.
Sure.
This happened. I think I'm going to have to. We'll have to get a Kickstarter together and get John a new laptop. It's been nonstop problems.
Like Patreon goals. new laptop.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'll work.
I like it. Let's go, John. If you're watching, you're holding us up. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Sure. I don't know why I was thinking. For a while, I was thinking it was 10:30, and I was still having breakfast and putting the steak, and I'm like, oh, maybe it was 10 o'clock.
Oops. No, that's okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Everyone has such interesting backgrounds. I've got this stark wall here.
Oh.
Yep, that's very cool. Now, is that... There he is. You there, John? There you go. And we're still live, which is good.
Yeah, all of a sudden it got really quiet. I'm like, wow, you're not doing a good job, Vince. And then I look up and my computer
I'm doing
has
an
no
awesome
internet.
job. You son of a-
Oh, man, we better make some money soon. I need a new laptop because this is getting a hammer soon.
We were just talking about that. We need to do, like, Sarah suggested a Patreon and a Kickstarter.
Well, we're going to get a Patreon going once we get our logo done. We have everything in place. We just need the logo to get everything going.
Soon, yes. We have Mr. Adam Baker working on that as we speak.
Come on, Adam.
Adam does stuff.
So, Dave, tell us about your involvement with the. How did you get involved with the Lovecraft E-Zine Kickstarter, Autumn Phillip?
Well, this is something that's been going on. Mike's been talking about it for, I think, about a year and a half now.
Mm.
You know, he shared it with the E-Zine artists, and he asked. He just put it out there. Hey, you know, I'm going to be doing this, and he was looking for promotional art to use running up to it for the last year. And I think the first guy to respond was Greg Chapman. He put together like a mock cover, you know, with tentacles coming out of the darkness, and this guy walking down a dark street. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. Oh, it was over a year ago. So, and then within probably the last 6 to 9 months, Mike had contacted Nick Gucker and myself because he was looking for, at that time I didn't know whether it was promotional art or interior illustrations, and he sent us a bunch of stories. And you know, we got on a Google Hangout, and we got some ideas, but no work had been really done to that point. And it was shortly after that I did my the scratch board for him, the promotional piece, the Cthulhu swimming in the waters off the coast of a town.
Oh yeah.
And I had, as recently as Necronomicon, I spoke to Mike about what he was going to do for a cover, and he said he had somebody in mind, and he wanted it to be special, and I at the convention, Casilda's song had just come out, and everybody was like really jazzed about Steve's cover, and I knew that Steve was working on something for the Autumn Cthulhu, but up to that point, I had only done the single illustration for promotional purposes. I was very surprised that Mike decided to use it as a cover, an alternate cover for the Kickstarter.
Okay.
But I think Mike's been, not Mike, Steve's been involved in a lot of the background production of the book.
Yeah, my involvement was kind of like with Dave. Mike put out a call to the E-Zine artists to, if anybody wanted to contribute anything, illustrations or something, and he would use it as part of the promotion. So then Mike and I started talking about the cover, and he and I were deciding, well, do we want to go illustration-wise, or do we want to do something like a lot of the photo manipulation types work I do? So we started then discussing ideas about the background for it. Did we want it to look like a cove surrounded by autumn scene with the leaves falling and everything, and not necessarily show Cthulhu, but maybe just have some sort of essence of cosmic horror awareness type thing, you know.
Like a subtle hint.
Yeah, something really subtle. And, you know, Mike had a particular idea in mind, and where he was actually open to a lot of ideas. So what I did was I started then going through a lot of stock photography just to show him examples of what kind of mood to get for the piece. And he liked some of the examples I showed him. And then he started looking for some stock also. And I don't remember how much time went by, but it was like several weeks went by, and I ended up looking at easily over like 200 different stock shots, and we kept on narrowing them down. And then Mike found one that he really liked, and actually it was down to 2, so he asked my opinion on it, and then we ended up picking the one that became the cover. And the only thing I did to it is I just slightly changed I put a slight tint to the actual stock photo, but I didn't do any manipulation at all. I just handled the graphic design and laying out the text, you know, for it, and because it's going to be, you know, a full wraparound cover, and then doing the promotional stuff, you know, like doing the stretch goals, the little ads for those, and just that. Nothing too big.
Okay, cool. Now, do you have anything to show? You want to show the viewers like a sample of your work?
Yeah, you know, I've got to figure out how to do that with the screen there.
Right there on the left-hand side, you'll see at the top one, you'll see chat. The second one down, the green one with the white arrow, is screen share.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once you click that, that will engage that app and start sharing whatever you have on your PC.
All right.
Sarah gave it a shot. She found it pretty easy.
Okay, I guess it's that folder there.
Did you mention, Vince, that the Kickstarter is fully funded already with 24 days to go?
You just did.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was funded within the first 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike was very pleased with that, as was everyone else.
Okay, is it sharing right now?
You are indeed sharing.
Oh, okay. This was like one of the little mock-ups that I had come up with.
Okay.
It was just different tints, and then you could see Cthulhu hanging out in the background, you know. But I had an issue with the scale, because when I just did this as a mock-up just to get a mood for the piece, and obviously he would be much larger than that, and it was hard to find stock that would keep him within scale, you know. Otherwise it looked like a little Cthulhu guy hanging around. But and then this is just other stuff that I did for the...
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is.
And then this was more like the full version.
Oh, wow.
I just put in some little, a little hint of something cosmic coming out from the...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Back there.
Something in the background that you kind of want to see, but at the same time you're like, nah, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think this one was used. I just stuck the book in the...
That's cool, sitting there in the leaves, yeah.
Yeah, just hanging out there.
Yep.
I didn't want to go that far and make it a little tacky and put like a tentacle reaching from behind the book, you know, coming around to grab the book out of the
I don't know. Well, that would be kind of cool. That would be neat. Just little...
keep it subtle.
Yeah,
just a small one.
Like Cthulhu wanted to, hey, you know, I got to check out this book.
like when a shark gently bites something to find out whether or not it's edible.
Yeah.
Well, tentative tentacle.
Yeah.
Cool.
Say that 10 times fast.
Tentative tentacle. Yeah. Not with the wine. It's not gonna happen now.
But yeah, those are the ones that I was, and then obviously then the regular stretch goal pictures that were done.
Okay. Oh, I can see myself. Oh shit. Sweet. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
How about you, Dave? And could you you said something that you mentioned Scratchboard. What can you? What is that?
Well, Scratchboard is It's like a tile. It's a chalk tile that has an ink covering over it. So it's a black tile, and you scrape away the black surface to reveal the white chalk beneath. Some people make their own boards. Somebody like Santiago Caruso, he makes his own board, with like plaster on top of cardboard, and it winds up being a very delicate sort of piece. I had the opportunity to see some of his original stuff up at Necronomicon, and it was just like amazing. I don't know the technique to make it, but there's some great product that you can buy at an art store made by Ampersand, and that's what I use. And I think I've got unopened scratch board. This is an 8x10, and it comes black. It's still in the wrapper.
Yeah.
But when it's done, I've got the Autumn Cthulhu piece right here. This is the.
Oh wow.
Oh, this is cool.
That's the scratch board. It's a 5x7.
Okay.
And the text was added digitally.
Oh.
So I didn't do this to be a cover. Again, it was done on a small version. The covers, if it's going to be a cover, I want to do it larger, so it would be an 8x10. Mike very early on was very clear that he did not want Cthulhu on the cover. Which to me, it's sort of a missed opportunity. You're getting some of your e-zine artists to do a cover. I want to do Cthulhu. I want to see Cthulhu. If you get Sara or Steve or other guys like Adam Baker and Lee Copeland, you're going to want to see what they can do. I want to see tentacles. I want to see cosmic horror. I want to see all that crazy stuff. Nick Gucker, you're not going to ask Nick to do something and not tell him no monsters.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when he said, I want promotional art, I figured, well, I've been working on in Scratchboard for the last year, and since it's not the cover, I'm going to draw Cthulhu. That's. And then
you ended up in the cover.
Yeah, so I think I would have obsessed about it more. I would have taken probably about 4 weeks longer if I knew it was going to be the cover. But it was just meant to be promotional art and something cool for Mike to share. So yeah.
Very cool. It's also made it onto the coin, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve, were you involved with that with the coin thing? Because I know he had sent that like an early image to both of us.
The day you received that early image, that was my first time. I didn't even know there was a coin, and I didn't even know there was interior artwork until I saw the Kickstarter and I saw Sarah's art. That just blew me away. I was like, wow, this looks great. But yeah, the coin. No, I saw it the same time you did with that email. Just for some feedback on it, and that was the first time I saw it. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Definitely.
And at the $45 pledge level, you get the Autumn Cthulhu coin, the print edition, the ebook, and the wallpaper.
Everything.
Yes.
And I think you can add the coin as a separate add-on, if I'm not mistaken.
I think for an extra 20 or 25, $20, whatever you pledge, you can add the coin. Yeah.
And James had a coin from the last Kickstarter, right? It's a nice heavy coin. I mean, it's not a cheap little thing. It's a really nice piece.
Yeah, it's no joke. Yeah, it is a decent piece.
What's the size of the coin? I really don't know.
It was about $50.
Yeah.
But thicker and heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't even realize that there would be interior art. Even after seeing the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter is unclear that there's interior art. I knew that Sarah's illustrations were available as prints, but it wasn't until this conversation that Sara said that the art is actually going to be black and white interiors, right?
Yeah, at least that's what I understand from what I heard from Mike. Because I mean I asked him if he needed the colored ones or the black and white ones for the interiors, because I mean it's usually what I ask to when people commissions me things. And he said me, yeah, do both, both the color but also give me the black and white. So I assumed that he was going to use the black and white illustration for the interior, but I really don't know. I don't want to.
Well,
I don't take a responsibility for this. Maybe they are not in there. I don't know.
Well, let me put it out there that they should be in the book, I believe. You know, and I know Mike just recently, over the last week, put together some stretch goals. One of the stretch goals I know is getting an additional story by my friend S.P. Miskowski. So there's going to be 2 additional stories, but I think something that he should look into is one of the stretch goals should be more interior art. You know, that's something that one of the Kickstarters I followed earlier this year was World War Cthulhu, and one of their stretch goals was more interior art, you know, or full color interior art, and it got to the point where every story in that anthology had an illustration, and it was a dynamite presentation. Yeah. So you know, I think if this Kickstarter continues to on its path to success, you know, I think Mike should you know, consider more illustrations by Sara. You know, that's as a reader, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that is the same thing that happened with She Walks in Shadows by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I don't think that she had the intention to add the interior illustration at first, but then they reached the goal, and so yeah, that's why I was called for that one.
I see. Okay.
Right. Well, we're gonna have Mike on here next week, so we can give him your suggestions for sure. Say, Mike, Dave said.
Dave wants you to do this.
Yeah. Put Sara to work.
Exactly.
So I have a question for Steve.
Yeah.
You know, Steve, the cover that you had shown us, both the print version and the unused cover that you showed us, you work with photo manipulation, right?
Yeah.
So that Cthulhu, you know, in the background, you had to summon him and photograph him, and then you got to manipulate him. Is that how?
I have a special camera for that. Yeah, actually, that was, since it was just for a mock-up. I had done. I was in a Photoshop contest on DeviantArt like a couple years ago, and it was all about Cthulhu. So I actually just clipped my old photoshopped image that I had put together of Cthulhu from back then, and just mocked it in, put him like he was sort of like coming through the mist, just in that mock-up, just to show Mike, just to give him an idea. But that's when I realized that Cthulhu, really, the intent was not to actually physically show him on the cover. So that's when I went the alternate route, just to show something a little bit more cosmic-y, you know, just go more for a mood, something that says autumn, kind of still instill some sort of creepiness to it, you know.
Yeah. The photo that was used, that tree, it's got the roots, which sort of suggest, you know, both an earthy autumn, but also, you know, tentacles and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Do we know where that tree is? You know, can fans make a pilgrimage? And
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mike's the one that he ordered. I have to go back and check, because we looked at so many different stocks, but obviously wherever the stock came from, I'm sure it probably mentions, the photographer probably mentioned exactly where that was located at. But yeah, that would be kind of fun to do. I actually originally had an idea where I had a pencil sketch, and I just laid out what the tree looked like, and I started adding things to it, like these dark wavy lines coming up out of the ground, like the roots were starting to reach up towards the sky, and it's just sort of like blobby shapes coming up from the roots. But that almost seemed a bit overkill. You know, Mike wanted to downplay it a little bit, and he liked the photograph just the way it was. So I said, all right, fine, that makes my job easier. I just concentrated on the graphic design part of it, and that was it.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool indeed.
So Howard, I don't know if Vince talked about this a little while I wound up dropping out, but how were each of you introduced to Lovecraft?
I was just about to say that, yeah, and each other. So.
That's the unescapable question.
Right. And guess what? You're first, sir.
Yay! I first found out about Lovecraft when I was in college, so I was 14, 15 years old, and it was actually kind of weird and funny. I mean, when I think about that, it's really funny now, but at the time I was really excited about that because I was introduced to Lovecraft basically by Abdul al-Azred himself. Because I found on the internet a PDF copy of the Necronomicon. And at the time, I was really into, occultism. In my classroom, there were a group of girls that they were Wiccans. And so there was all the, the magic thing about being just a teenager and studying these weird, forbidden things. And so I was looking up about these things on the internet, and I stumbled into this copy of the Necronomicon.
Cool.
And I read it. It was, of course, like some kind of material for doing RPGs. Yes, some kind of prop, basically, that you could print and use for your campaigns. But it was not written over it. So for the first, I think, for 3 or 4 hours in my life, I actually believed that the book was real. until I Googled it. Yeah. Until I Googled it, and of course Wikipedia crashed all my dreams of greatness. But I was like, okay, I have to look this Lovecraft guy, and I completely fell in love with his writings. So this is my sad story.
No, not at all. Good story. I think we all have similar stories to that. Come from different areas of literature, different introductions by different people and things like that. Like for yourself, Dave, how did you get involved with Lovecraft?
Probably through Conan the Barbarian comic books. I was really into the sword and sorcery stories, John Buscema, Barry Windsor Smith, and some of those magazines would have adaptations of Howard's horror stories, and they always talked about this guy Lovecraft and Clark Ashton Smith. Now, I was able to find Robert E. Howard in the bookstores, but it was rare that I came across Lovecraft, and almost never Clark Ashton Smith. It wasn't until many, many years later that I ordered books from Arkham that I was able to read Smith. But eventually I did find Lovecraft. And, it's funny what Sara said. For a couple of hours, she believed the Necronomicon was real. Well, before the Internet, there was no way to find out whether this stuff was real or not. And I spent probably months believing that this stuff was real. Because, he's so, I think, skilled at merging, real historical authors with things of his own creation. I think it fits seamlessly. And Robert E. Howard continued that. With these imaginary texts and stuff like that. I was going to the library looking for the Necronomicon, and one day I remember going to the bookstore and I found a paperback copy. That black cover of the Necronomicon, and I was like, it's real. So
they kept that book in the back in the libraries, right?
Archive special section, yes.
Yeah.
I was looking to see if I had a copy of that black one. I know I did. I don't know if I still have it around or not.
You do? I thought I saw it on your shelf last time I hung out with you.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm not spying it though. Not that it matters. I was just gonna hold it up for the camera.
I wound up not buying that because by that point, now this is probably the first year of high school, I had hooked up with a gaming group, and the game master had introduced me to Call of Cthulhu, and he sort of told me that people that or he knew someone, everybody knew someone who had a Necronomicon, and when they actually recited it, bad stuff happened. So, yeah, I didn't buy it. I wasn't looking for bad stuff. I just wanted to read about, cool stuff, Cthulhu and stuff.
And see if it had cool pictures inside, right?
Exactly. But the cover art was everything, and the paperbacks that I was buying were the Michael Whelan covers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love Michael Whelan from his Elric paperback covers. So yeah, it was a transition from sword and sorcery to horror at that point for me.
Yeah. Still pretty badass. How about you, Steve?
Similar to Dave, it was through early days of comics and looking through my cousin's creepy magazines, eerie magazines, where they did, they'll redo a story of Lovecraft. And in the early 80s, my brother and I we were at a toy store and we saw a Call of Cthulhu game, and we bought it just to check it out. And then my brother started buying all those Michael Whelan covers, and I just pulled them off the shelf. But yeah, I mean, I still have, thanks to my brother, he gave me a whole collection. Yeah, so I got them. Huh?
Those covers are great. I love them.
Oh yeah, I love those covers. Yeah, those are all from like the early '80s, and I remember. I don't remember anymore exactly what was the first story I read. I just thought, this guy is out of his mind. I just thought this thing's gonna send me to some other, damn me to hell or something for reading this stuff. Because at that point I don't know who was the most twisted writer I had read stuff from. Was maybe Bradbury or something, but I thought everything else was just pretty tame once I started reading Lovecraft stuff. It was so dark, and then after that, it just kept on going. And once I got to college, things sort of didn't forget about Lovecraft, but just that other things, took my time. And then, not that long before Mike started the easing, I started getting back more into reading about Lovecraft. There were some podcasts about Lovecraft, and then it was just, it's been on since then.
Cool.
Very cool. And as far as the authors that have come post Lovecraft, like the Duralists and stuff like that, do you have a favorite out of that collection, out of that group?
Clark Austin Smith was someone that I really didn't even know about until I started hearing stuff on different podcasts, and then started reading a lot of some of his stuff. But yeah, his stuff tends to stand out for me, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have to say that Clark Ashton Smith is one of my favorites too. Really like the Zotic cycle, or whatever you want to call it.
Dave, what about you?
Well, I was, when I got into Lovecraft, I was just, if I could find it, I was reading it. And like I said before, it wasn't until I got a little older that I started ordering through the mail Arkham House, Necronomicon Press, and that's where I really found all these other authors, and it just opened up my awareness to how far-reaching authors were working in this mythos. But early on, I wasn't that discerning. I mean, looking back, there are authors that just resonate and stick with you. But I just embrace it all. It's fun stuff. It's fun.
Cool. Yeah, there's certainly a lot more. all things Lovecraftian and the weird fiction genre in general, as evidenced by things like Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And that was my next area, a topic of conversation was Necronomicon.
I'm inside you, bro.
That's kind of disgusting.
That's why I said it.
I'll chime in, but I'll let you lead with that since you really started it off, you disgusting bastard.
Well, I hadn't met any of you guys prior to Necronomicon. Dave, Vince introduced me to you while we were wandering around the dealer floor there, and we happened to run into Sara outside the dealer hall.
Yeah, that's cool.
Came in with her folder full of art, and I guess Vince had stopped her. I don't even know what I was doing. What the hell's going on over here?
I gotta see that stuff. That's great.
And she proceeded to spread out all this beautiful artwork on the floor. And I think we wound up, or at least Vince purchased a bunch of things, and one of the posters for me.
I was there with you for that because we were waiting for the vendor hall to open up, and my buddy Joey Shea was over there talking to, I think, Gage Prentice, the guy who is doing the Lovecraft sculpture. And I asked Joey, I was like, hey, have you seen Sara? You know, because I was looking for her. I knew she was coming over. And here it is, the last day of the convention. And I said, I was stuck in the vendor hall all weekend. I said, have you seen Sara? Is she here? And he's like, yeah, she's standing right over there. So, I was with you guys, and we went over, and, I was lucky that she had, all these prints for sale, and I picked some stuff up. So, and then I got to go home, and I followed her explorations of New England on Facebook. You went up to Boston, Sara?
Yes, because my flight was from Rome to Boston, and then I took a train from Boston to Providence.
Now, were you by yourself when you were taking all those photographs in the old, cemeteries and stuff?
Yes, I was all alone.
Well, that is hardcore. Yeah.
It is.
A true fan.
And my parents from Italy, how are you? Where are you?
They just see you posting all these cemetery photos, and they're like, oh my god.
No, but they used to. I mean, they know me. They raised me this way, literally by bringing me in cemeteries. So yeah.
Well, on top of the cemeteries, you were taking pictures of these, very side streets. It looked like you were in search of Pickman's studio.
I was. Well, actually, I took a lot of pictures because I would probably need a lot of references for my comic.
Oh, yes.
Even in Brown University, it was around the campus with my camera, taking all the pictures just for the sole purpose of using them later.
That's a good idea,
yeah.
Let's see
awesome.
If I can find that photo. Keep going, John.
No, I'm throwing it back to you. That's all I got.
No, I'm looking for photos. Shut up. Hang on, wait a minute, so you can see this.
Well, since she brought up her comic, how often do you put out new material, Sara?
Oh, I try to publish one page each week, but sometimes I'm not able to do so. But yeah, it's
That's still pretty good.
And it's an ongoing web series? Is that what it is?
Sorry?
It's an ongoing web series, the comic?
Yep.
Cool.
I hope to be able to do a Kickstarter for it, since actually a lot of people are asking me to do that. We want a printed copy of it.
Yes.
But I'm still, since you guessed that, I'm not English, so I'm still having a bit of problems with the translation, and also the formats of the pages. I'm still working on the layouts because this is the very first comic that I ever did in my entire life, because I am illustrator. For me, my profession is being an illustrator, but I'm not a comic artist. I've studied storyboarding, which is similar to comics, but not exactly the same thing. So I'm still not really sure about some pages. I really want to go back and change the panels. So yeah, there is still a little bit of, tweaks to do before I can actually decide to print it.
Sure, there's certainly a little bit of a learning curve there.
There was. Absolutely.
Cool. Did you find what you were looking for there, Vince?
I did not, so I'll have to send it out to everybody. It's somewhere on this ridiculous laptop. I do apologize, but thank you for covering for me. So, and Dave, you and I met at Necronomicon 2013.
Correct. Yep.
I remember you were handing out one of your small little books.
Yep. Yeah. For 2013, I heard all these great things that people were doing, and I didn't want to show up empty-handed. So this was before I was even contributing to Mike's e-zine. But I was a reader. I was following him on Facebook. So I had emailed him asking to if he'd be able to answer a couple questions, and I got to interview him early summer 2013, and I think at that time he had something like under 10,000 Facebook followers, and here it is, 2 years later, and he's got over 200,000 Facebook followers. So it's just like incrementally, blown up. But it was shortly after I Necronomicon 2013 that I started submitting art to the e-zine, and got to know Steve working in the issue on a monthly basis, and then as time went on, less frequently. I think Mike just put out the 3rd issue for 2015 today. I think it just dropped.
Yeah, yesterday or today, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I met you in 2013.
Yep.
And Steve, were you at Necronomicon this past year?
No, but I'm gonna try to be there in 2017.
I was about to say, you need to, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just have to be there in Providence just to be in the same, just to see the buildings. I gotta get blown away by all that environment.
Yeah, you totally will, yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool. This was my first year to go, and it was a really neat experience. Not only for the podcast and getting a chance to meet, a bunch of different people, but like you say, just being there and seeing the buildings and kind of, walking in the footsteps and going to the cemetery was a very, very cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tour we did was good.
Yeah, it was hot as balls that day.
Oh my God, yeah.
We almost lost a couple of party members that day.
We just it looked like we were taking showers.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, Steve did have art in Providence this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I had the Innsmouth poster and one of the other posters I did for a role-playing strategy card game. Actually, that's sort of very steampunk, but they did have some Lovecraft elements into it.
And what's the name of that game? People can go check that out.
It is Quest for Atlantis.
Ah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good name.
Then we can Google that. Do you have a website you want to throw out there?
Yeah, hang on a second. I think I've got the box over here.
So we can throw that up on the site too. We'll put everyone's information in sites and all the fun stuff up on our site as well.
Actually, I just looked up Incredible Expeditions. This is the.
Wow. Cool.
Oh, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I originally did, I think, 3 cards for them, and then they asked me to do a couple more, and then I turned a couple of them into posters, which was. I just had a couple of posters ordered just so I could have some on hand, but this was the.
Oh,
this is
very cool.
Yeah.
I saw that one on your gallery, I think.
The weird one. I don't know if it's picking up too much glare, but.
No, we can see that. It's really cool.
But that was one.
That was one of them that was hanging in Providence, up at Julian's. Julian's was a venue up on the hill, so you actually had to walk out of the center of the city to get to it. But late Saturday night, I wound up. It was either go to Pete Rawlick's trivia game or take a walk up the hill. So I needed to take a walk up the hill to see some of the prints that were hanging up there, and I didn't make Pete's trivia game.
That's all right. I posted some video and some photos up on the Facebook stuff, so you can check that out.
Cool.
Well, your other option was to go and hang out at the Golden Goblin Press hotel party room for as long as that lasted.
You bastard shut that one down. Tell them why it was shut down, sir.
Well, so...
And hotel security was called.
Yeah, so we probably had, or I should say I was a guest, but Oscar probably had about 30 people in his hotel room with just gallons of alcohol, beer, and whiskey, and, you name it. They had it was somebody's birthday. I don't recall if it was Jeffrey Muller's birthday. I don't remember whose birthday it was, but they had a huge cake, and it was just loud, and the music was going. I think we were up there for about 2 hours before the security came, and it's like, yeah, you guys all have to leave now.
I came up with Leah and Kim, and we get off the elevator, and it was we hear the noise, but it wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be. And then we turn the corner, and there's 2 security guards standing out front. We're like, oh, whoa, look at the time. We're going to go this way.
They were nice. I mean, I guess they get that sort of thing. They weren't rude or anything at all, but they were like, yeah, everybody has to leave right now. So it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Epic.
Very. That was very cool.
I got nothing.
That's it? You're
No. Now with the Necronomicon, Dave, you were sharing a booth with, I forget.
Oh yeah. I was sharing a table with Sam Cohen, who does Dim Shores, and Anya Martin. She was selling books that used to belong to her dad. Her dad had been at the convention in 2013, and in between he had passed away. But yeah, Sam's Dim Shores. I think he had 3 books printed at the time, and I think one of the bright spots of the convention was when he did a group signing. He had all 3 authors that had books on his label, which were Jeffrey Thomas, Matthew Bartlett, and Scott Nicolay, and also illustrator Mike Bukowski. For about an hour, the 4 of them sat at the table signing their books. So that was pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Dim Shores. They're putting out some good stuff.
Okay, cool. I'll have to look into that a little further.
Yeah, well, I think he's already announced his next 2 or 3 books. I think he's going to be publishing a hardcover edition of a Michael Sisko title in 2016. But I think there's only 1 book right now that's still in print. Everything else has gone, sold out. Sold out both the first and second editions.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I was sharing a table with them, and selling my little zine, and selling some Dunham Manor press books.
Okay, for Jordan.
Yeah, for Jordan Crowell. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of work for him in 2016.
Okay. Now, are you going to CrawlCon too?
CrowlCon, yeah. CrowlCon is a local, for those of you who may be watching, who don't know. CrowlCon is a local convention that Jordan Crowell started several years ago. I went last year. You didn't go to that, did you?
No, I did not.
You went to the reading.
I did go to the reading in Lambertville, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
very cool.
CrowdCon, it's a weird fiction, poetry, performance art, bizarro. And this year he's going to have, I think Matthew Bartlett is going to come down for a day. Yeah, so, and he's going to have streaming or pre-recorded videos of author readings.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I think Pulver is going to be one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a big name. I don't know whether he put that out there, so.
Well,
Exclusive.
It's out there now.
Out now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you say that's a local con. What area is that specifically for people who may want to go and attend?
He's down in the Brunswick area, but I think the convention this year is in
Summit area? Yeah. Sort of an old hotel resort area.
Yeah.
Where's that? I didn't catch that, Vince.
It's in the Summit area. We can post a link to it.
Okay, Summit, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're real specific.
I'll be there. I'll be there to represent. Don't worry.
Okay, you gotta wear your T-shirt.
I will.
I got up and walked away because I wanted to go grab the
yeah.
Out my poster.
Yep. So there you go. Here, let me lock on that.
Yeah, I'm getting mine framed.
Yep. Yeah, I still have to get it matted and all. It's kind of sitting up on the shelf, but I wanted to grab that and show it off.
Yeah, I believe Mike had that.
Now, Steve, you're part of the Lovecraft E-Zine artist group, really, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Since November of 2011. That was like back with issue 8.
Oh, wow.
Mike originally had I can't remember their name, but there was only one artist that was doing all the books for him, every story illustration, the covers, and that was back when it was monthly. I mean, this person was doing like everything for him, and I remember, I think around when Mike was on issue 4 of the E-Zine, when I started reading him, and I think I contacted him shortly after that, just asked if he needed any other illustration work done or something, because I was just a fan. I just wanted to contribute something.
Yeah.
He said that no, he goes, I'm good right now, because he had somebody. Then it seemed like a couple months later, then they put out a call that there was more, that they needed more artists, because the person that had been doing it, just, I don't know the reason why, but they stopped doing it, and then with issue, I think 7 is when I think there started to be a collection of, a group of different artists, and then I came in with number 8. And it's been fun. I love the process of it, where the artists, we get the stories, and it's first come, first serve. So if you're a fast reader and you can skim through the stories, if there's something in there that just gets my attention, and it's like, all right, I'll quickly sign my name to that one. So, okay, I'm doing that one. And and then every now and then I've done, I think, 2 covers for the E-Zine over the years, and but yeah, it's fun. It just, I like the whole process of doing it and seeing it all come together. Now that he's got print editions as well, besides Kindle and.
I know, right? Yeah, the print. It's really not your name and your work in your hands like that.
Yeah, the print quality comes out really good. Looks really good. Yeah. Good stuff.
Indeed. Now, Dave, you're on the team as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like I said before, it was after 2000, the Necronomicon 2013, that I started contributing. I think December of 2013, and and that's how I, got to know you. You're one of the audio readers, right?
Correct. Yes.
Now that's something that Mike stopped last issue, right?
Either this last issue or the one before. He did mention something about if we wanted to do them anyway, he would go ahead and produce them and leave them up there for anyone who requested them. I think. I don't know. I have to ask. I haven't done an audio reading in quite some time. It's about 7 or 8 months now. Which is
He's
sad.
lazy.
Yeah, I did. You what?
I said you're lazy.
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things that are going on, but I did like reading. It was fun. So if he ever does it again, I'll volunteer my services.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteer my voice, as it were. Yeah. How about you, Sarah? You too? Are you a official part of the Lovecraft e-zine?
Oh, no.
You're like,
No, but you know, the fact is that even if I'm able to read English quite, smoothly, but it's still a little bit hard for me and a bit tiring to read all day in a language which is not my own. So I know the Lovecraft design. I've read a lot of articles that Mike, he posts on the website, but I can't say that I am really, follower because of the language barrier.
Gotcha. Now, how about your art as well? Do you volunteer for that too?
No, actually, Mike contacted me, but I think Joe Shia had helped me with that. I think that was he's doing.
Who? ST? Who helped you? Joshi?
Joshia.
Now, what's your involvement with Joshi then?
No, it's not Joshi. It's Joy Shia, the Joy Zone.
Oh, okay.
You know him.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's also the one that invited me to the Necronomicon this year. So
Yes.
it's like my benefactor.
Yes.
Your patron.
My patron.
Yes, he's mine too. Yeah.
Cool. So that's good. So everyone right now is at least has penciled in on their calendar the 2017 Necronomicon. You've got your plan. Okay. I want to see everyone there.
Hey, we'll have to set up our own hotel room party this year.
I think we're going to have hopefully if things come together nicely, we'll have our own panel too. But we'll definitely have a Legends of Tabletop hotel party.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be quiet though.
Yeah, try not to get everybody thrown out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We've got a couple months to plan that. I'm sure. Be all right.
Yeah. But not to completely derail the Lovecraftian element here, but the biggest news in the universe right now is that Star Wars was released this week. Did any of you guys get a chance to see it or no?
Not yet.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No. Oh, okay.
No? What the? Go out and see. When we're done this call, you got to go out and see.
On my list.
I went yesterday. It was good. Well, we'll leave it at that. It was very good.
Yeah.
I mean, the bar was very low with the last 3 movies, and I'll use that term very loosely. So, it was only upwards from there, but it was very, very well done. So definitely worth it to check it out.
Yeah, indeed. All right, I think we're maybe up to our final 5.
All right, I don't have that in front of me because this was your deal. Should I go get those questions?
You should go get this question. Yeah, which may take a little bit because we have 3 people.
All right, hold on. I'll be right back.
While he's gone, I got something. This year's Necronomicon guest of honor artist was John Coulthard. So I was really stoked to get to meet him and see his stuff hanging up. And Steve just had work published in a book with John Coulthard. I think it's called The Gods of Lovecraft, right?
That's the one.
You got it. I got it.
He was waiting for that. He had that. Yeah. He had that in the chamber.
Yeah, I've got a really big desk right here. Everything's just laid out here.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Dude, show us some of the stuff in that because the images I saw is, in my opinion, some of your best work.
This is I think everybody's favorite is good old Shub.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Actually, you know what? I've got a screenshot of all 3 images because I released them also as posters. Let me show you that real quick. And is it up on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, those are all 3 of them.
Oh wow.
Very cool.
They really are, yeah. And the lineup of authors is pretty incredible as well, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually was asked to do it as either to fill in for an artist that wasn't able to do it at the last minute, or I was just, that's the editor, Aaron French. He contacted me and asked me if I would do these 3 illustrations, and I told him, sure, when do you need it? And he's like, oh, like in a couple of weeks.
No pressure.
Yeah, I did all 3 of these, I think, it took me less than 2.5 weeks to do them, which is kind of quick for me. I usually like to take more time if I'm given that much time to do it. And but yeah, it was fun. It was fun doing it. Plus, I got the PDF of the stories of these 3, at least, the ones that I did these illustrations for. But yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I was able to participate in that.
What authors are you illustrating in that book?
Brett Talley was one of them, and I've got to go back and look at the list of which were the other ones.
Are there other artists besides Coolheart and yourself in that book?
Yeah, Paul Carrick. I'm not sure that's how he pronounces his name.
Oh yeah, I know his work. Great stuff.
Yeah, his art. He's actually been one of my favorite Lovecraft artists for a while, and I've actually had contact with him through DeviantArt for a couple of times. And I had no idea his art was actually in the book until I got my copy of the book. I knew John was contributing. John has 6 pieces in it, and Paul has 3, and I have 3.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Seems that I have to get the book now.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And
Shipping.
I've got the cover score, and I've got my reading list just keeps on growing. You know, I'm trying to find up some other ones, and yeah.
That is very difficult. There's so many good Lovecraftian authors that it's trying to keep up is just almost impossible.
Yeah.
But the artwork is something that's easily accessible. We can consume that a lot faster and more, enjoyable, but quicker. So get it for the artwork.
And Vince, we can include you now in that bevy of Lovecraftian authors now as well.
I was waiting for that. Yes, thank you.
Lightning's Call. Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Lightning's Call. I'm gonna throw the name out there. People can go to legendsoftabletop.com and order through our Amazon link.
The artwork by Adam Baker. Very good. Good cover. It's pretty. It's worth it to pick up the paperback just for. You don't have to read the story. Just get it for the artwork.
Hold on, let me grab it. I have it here somewhere.
Okay.
This is a series, right, Vince?
It is. It's a novella series. It'll be about 6 books, and I'm 3/4 of the way through the second novella, so I'm hoping to have that out this spring. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a series. Features an ex-Civil War cavalry sergeant, which is one of the reasons why I'm in Gettysburg. Yeah, there you go. And Nikola Tesla. Everyone knows who Tesla is.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the cover's backwards, but whatever.
Oh my God. Now we can see it okay. Flip it over to the back. There's artwork on the back too.
Oh, cool! I didn't see that.
The cliched cult leader.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
a little creepy eye servant.
Yep, it's called an eyeling.
Mm-hmm. Spoilers.
Yes. But anyway, enough about me. So we have our final 5. Unless you want to talk about something else, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
If you guys have anything else to plug, we're more than willing to have you do that as well.
Anything interesting you're doing that's upcoming, other than the Kickstarter?
I've got a couple of book covers that I'm working on. One's for Stormblade Productions out of the UK. It's a Twisted Tale about Snow White. It's called Snow. I'm doing the book cover and the audio. He likes to do audio dramatizations about the stories, so it's also a CD for that.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm doing the second book cover for a series for writer Sean Meeks. It's for IFWG Publishing out of Australia, and it's the second book. It's sort of a tongue-in-cheek kind of detective story. The series is Dylan the Monster Dick. It's about, as in detective, you know, that type of. But yeah, it's a really good. It's really good. I did the first cover, and he's doing really well. So he's got a second book coming out that'll be edited next month, and they asked me to do the second one. And if it keeps going, then I'll continue doing the rest of the covers for that.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Sarah, anything upcoming?
Yeah. As for me, I am currently involved in the development of a video game based upon the Dream Quest of Unknown Canada.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
The team that is working on the game is mostly a team of non-experts. I mean, not many of them are actual professionals. So it's like we are trying to do something good, but it's like we're just trying for the moment. There is some good addition to the team lately in the last period. For example, they are able to finally found a programmer who is a professional programmer who helped us a lot. But what I want to say that it's not a big project. It's not something that we are trying to do with a studio or anything like that. It's just a group of people, very passionate people that are trying to do their best to create the game. And yeah, if you want to, maybe I can give you later a link to the website because we are still trying to do a lot of things. But
yes.
And okay, the team is also very, how can I say that, international. Since the chief, our boss, I like to call him, he is from Ohio, but other artists and programmers, or even the pixel artists, since the game is going to be, with pixel. With pixel. So no 3D, no complex graphics or anything. Other of the artists, they are from Brazil, from Italy, like me, from all over the world. So it's really a weird project that we are trying to put it together. But it's coming out quite nice, and everybody's really about what they're doing. So I'm positive about that. I think that we are going somewhere, especially now that we are.
That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Dave, what about you?
Yeah.
I've started work on some of the 2016 books that Dunham's Manor is putting out. I think they're putting out a series of 10 hardcovers. They're limited editions, and let's see. The first one is going to be shipping, I think, this month, but I've got some of the original art. The first one is a collection of new Karnaki stories by Brandon Barrows, and this is the original scratchboard here.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's an 8x10 scratchboard, and I go in and I watercolor, add watercolor to the chalk.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Yep. And the interiors are smaller. So there's the cover, and that's the size of the interior.
Oh, wow.
The interiors are black and white. I think I've got some glare here.
Oh, we can. Oh, okay. We can make them out. Yeah.
You can? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So each of these books are going to have 3 illustrations. Yeah. So that's going to keep me busy for the first half of 2016, and yeah. So that's what I've got going on, and I can send you a link to Dunham's to the Dunham site if anybody's interested.
Please do. Yeah, we'll post all the stuff, the stuff that you're doing, and plug all your projects on the site. Now, Dave, you will often post some of your kind of random stuff on Google, I think.
Yeah, yeah, Google and Facebook and Tumblr. Yeah,
Yeah.
you mean sketchbook stuff?
Yeah, that stuff is really it's very captivating. Are you planning on doing like compiling that into like an omnibus or like even a coffee table book? Because it would lend itself well to that.
I'm wondering what specifically you're referring to, because I normally I do experiments with
Mm-hmm.
scratchboard and the chalkboard, but something that I'm very much into is urban sketching. Where
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
you know, I have my sketchbook with me every day, and you know, if I have some time, you know, I'm always thinking about ideas for a cover or an illustration. This is what I used to do with the Lovecraft e-zine, where I always had like the story mulling over in my head. But you know, when I'm not doing that, on my lunch break, which is only like 30 minutes, you know, I take a look around at where I am and take my sketchbook out and yeah, try to do some drawing, whether it's just a weird-looking tree that you know, I'm parked next to, or you know, if I'm in a city, you know, look at some of the buildings. But you know, urban sketching is it's a thing right now. You know, there's a lot of books, a lot of websites. You know, people are taking up their pens and watercolors and hitting the streets.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you know, it's just sort of like it just keeps me grounded in the moment, and it you know, gives me an excuse to practice with stuff that I may not be familiar with. You know, I'm uncomfortable with color, so you know, doing these little sketches allows me to play around with color. You know, I don't know, you know, digital coloring. I'm very envious of Steve and Sarah's ability to put these colors together, you know, and the scratchboard, you know, it just lends itself to my black and white sort of sense of design.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got no real plans of putting any of this, you know, out. It's just my way of contributing to social media. I don't think you want to hear my random thoughts. So you know, I'll just show what I'm doing in my sketchbook instead.
Gotcha.
Your building illustrations are really impressive. Your sketches, yeah, those. I remember that one you posted on Facebook where I won't get into the detail of what the guy was doing, but do you remember the one that you did? There was a sketch of some man that was doing something by a dumpster.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember that one. Yep.
I was parked in an industrial area of a city, and you know, I was like the only one on the street, and some dude is walking down the street, and he just walked into my drawing, you know, and there was space to fit him there. He stopped and took a leak next to this dumpster. So you know,
like you do.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's what you do with dumpsters.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Trenton.
I immortalized him.
You did. He should be proud of that. He should feel good.
But you know, the sketches like that, you know, allow me to practice with something that I might have been uncomfortable with. You know, like you know, drawing or architecture. You know, I love drawing the figure and stuff like that, and you know, cityscapes are intimidating. Mm-hmm. So you know, if the one thing I can do, you know, after I finish a sandwich is draw the picture of the building next to me, I'll try doing that. Cool. And you know, there's so many other artists out there doing some fantastic stuff like that. You know, I aspire to that.
Gotcha. No, it's great stuff. I enjoy when you when you're on your lunch break and you post your sketches.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I was up in Providence, you know, I took my sketchbook and I'm able to do some drawing up there. Yeah. So I actually, you know, a month before Necronomicon, I drove up to Providence and you know, spent about 4 hours drawing some of the homes that Lovecraft lived in, and you know, reference drawings for future stuff. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. With that in mind, then, for 2017, we're going to commission you. All of us here that are on this podcast, this interview podcast, we're going to stand in front of some kind of awesome Lovecraftian architecture, and you can immortalize us.
There you go. Okay.
That'd be badass.
Oh, I just wanted to correct myself for what I said before, because sometimes I get confused with the language. Sorry. I didn't want to say about the video game that the people that are working at the video game, they are not professionals. I wanted to say that the team itself is like constructed right now. It's something new, people that have never worked together, but they are actually professionals. I don't want to offend anyone.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, sometimes, but I get confused with words. I wanted to say that the team itself is new. That's it. That's all. Sorry. Just to verify.
It's okay.
You're making it better in English than I could ever make it in any other language, so.
Well done. Any other questions, John, for everybody?
No, I don't. If you want to roll right into the final five, we can do that.
What's the final five?
So we have.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right. The final five are just 5 binary questions, sort of a yes or no. Although you can elaborate, you feel free to elaborate, and then it's just like a little fun thing we do at the end.
Oh, okay.
They're 5 geeky, nerdy related
totally
questions.
Questions.
So I'll go left to right on my screen. So we'll start with Dave. Coming off what we were talking about before, Star Trek or Star Wars?
And like I said, you can elaborate.
You know what? I would have said Star Wars, but over the last 10 years, I think I'll go Star Trek.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Sarah, same question.
Is Stargate an option?
Well, we can add it.
We can add that, actually. Yeah, we can add that.
Because I've never been neither a Star Wars fan, neither a Star Trek fan. So I think I'll go for Stargate.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to add that one in there for our final 5 questions.
That'll be our backup.
Yep.
Steve, how about you?
Well, obviously for years it was always Star Trek until Star Wars came around, but I have to say Star Wars.
Yeah, cool. All right. Dave, tabletop or video games?
These days, video games.
Yeah. Just
yeah, well, I have a history with tabletop, but yeah, it's strictly video games these days. Although I did buy Cthulhu Wars. I haven't played it yet, but I have it.
Mm-hmm. Did you get in on the second Kickstarter?
I didn't, no, because I'm still waiting for stuff from the first Kickstarter.
Okay, we'll leave that alone. Sarah, how about you?
Video games, absolutely.
Okay. Wow. All right. Steve?
Video games now.
Wow. All right.
Tabletop just got dumped.
Why are you on this podcast?
All right, Dave, go fast. What was your introduction to tabletop games? What was the game in question?
You're directing this to me first?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When we say tabletop, are we talking about RPGs or
Correct.
like board games?
Well, both, but specifically RPGs. I'm sorry.
RPGs was definitely Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo!
Definitely, yeah. You know, I big time. My dad was into Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, I aspired to play it. And yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, Gamma World, Top Secret, Traveler, Call of Cthulhu, Tunnels and Trolls.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Villains and Vigilantes.
Yep.
Did you see have you been following the stories? They're trying to get their name back. They're in a lawsuit right now, those guys.
Tunnels and Trolls?
No, Villains and Vigilantes.
Yeah, Jeff D., right, I think was the artist.
I forget their names. I came across my desk the other day.
Yeah, I saw that. Jeff D. was the artist for Villains and Vigilantes and a lot of the other games, and I loved his work. Very, very sort of clean superhero style, and I heard that he's trying to get some of that stuff back. The rights to it, right?
Yeah, the rights to the name, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they had released something, but it was under a different name, or if they have everything ready to go and they're waiting for the name. I don't remember exactly what the story was.
I don't want to derail you, but just because it has something to do with games. Before I got involved with the e-zine, I had a blog. It was an art blog, of course, and I got back together with my old game master from high school. He's living back in the area. He had moved 20 years ago, and he's in the Philadelphia area, and he was gaming, and he was working on some sort of like mega campaign or a dungeon. And I started doing some art for him and got together and play tested it. And he has a website that he was chronicling it all. I think it's called Dreams from the Lich House.
Cool.
Posts from 2011 2012 have some of my art on it. But he was the one that had told me about Mike Davis's e-zine. He said, "Hey, have you seen the e-zine? He uses art. Might be something that you want to check out." And that's how I discovered the e-zine. I started seeing all these artists and the authors, and so it was that gaming connection that led me back into Lovecraft.
Cool.
And I did have some art published by some of the OSR guys, old school Renaissance, I guess. That are using the old basic D&D rules.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did have some art published in by some independently put together stuff.
Okay, cool. Gary Gygax style, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Sarah, what was your introduction to role-playing games?
Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You remember you remember the card game when it was called Jihad back in the 90s?
No.
Before it became Vampire. Yeah.
I don't even know if it was ever published in Italy. I don't know. The card game.
Gotcha.
But we got a lot of stuff from the World of Darkness.
Okay.
Wow. Basically everything like vampire, werewolf, werewolves, changeling, which is actually my favorite.
Okay.
I love changeling.
Cool.
But yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Before my brother and I started playing Dungeons and Dragons back in high school, we were introduced to this other game called Melee. It was like a very basic way. It was like our first RPG, and we just fell in love with that concept. It was just building up your character, and then they just go into an arena and just battle each other, and just
Nice.
Whoever would win, you get those points to build up more of your weapons and armor, and then from that it led to D&D, and then we really got into just buying all the miniatures, and just painting the heck out of them, and we had such a big collection, and then it seemed like a couple years into D&D, that's when a lot of the arcade games started getting very nice, and then it became video. Yeah.
That's the way. All right, we'll come back to you, Dave. DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Okay. Always Marvel, or Marvel now with the new resurgence?
Always Marvel. Always Marvel. Yeah.
Okay. Sarah?
DC.
Just Batman, or the whole DC universe?
Mostly Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read other comics about Batman.
I think that's really the only thing they have going for him is Batman, really.
Probably right.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
Marvel.
Yeah. Same thing, always Marvel?
No, as a kid, I remember buying Captain Marvel, Shazam books and Flash, and but then Marvel took over even when I was a kid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It seems like their universe is a little bit more rich in its backstories and whatnot. DC seems pretty black and white, I guess, where Marvel has tons of shades of gray. It seems like.
Yeah.
Except for Batman.
I just love. I mean, I grew up by watching the cartoons in the 90s, the ones with Batman, like the animated series, and also the ones that they developed later, like
they were really good.
Yeah, I grew up with those, and also with the two old Tim Burton's movies, Batman Returns, which are, I don't know, which are really, really weird.
Michael Keaton, yeah. No.
But they really shaped my perception of the superheroes.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, it is not.
Well, the Batman the Animated Series, I think, I know it sounds stupid, was one of the best shows on TV at the time. I mean,
I love that one.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And the comics were very good as well.
Yeah. It was really, really mature. Mature. I mean, when I was watching those cartoons, I felt like the writers were talking at me, and I was a kid, but they were taking me serious.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Hamill's probably the best Joker ever. I mean, give Heath Ledger his props, but Mark Hamill is amazing.
Yeah. That's the only reason why I rewatched the whole series in English, because of course I originally watched it in Italian, but yeah. His interpretation was really amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And I think that they're doing an animated version of The Killing Joke, aren't they? I thought that's what I had heard.
I know the comic.
Yeah, with Kevin Conroy and all. So that should be amazing if that's a real thing that's happening.
You making shit up, John?
No, I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere, like IO9 or somewhere, that they were doing. The original Batman animated version, but they were going to do The Killing Joke.
Oh, okay.
We could fact check it later. We're not going to edit anything. We could post up a link. I don't know. All right, Dave, sci-fi or fantasy?
Fantasy.
Okay. Sarah?
Sci-fi.
Okay. Stargate?
Not only Stargate. My father was a sci-fi fan. He was the one that actually liked Star Wars. But one of my childhood obsessions, it is still one of my obsessions, so it's The Fifth Element by Luc Besson, which is another really, really weird movie. I love weird movies.
That's a very good movie.
Yeah, but by the way, I always preferred sci-fi over fantasy, because sci-fi is, plausible, at least.
It's possible.
And also because of the themes that are explored in sci-fi, usually are more mature and also more realistic. You can explore. I don't know, economy, racism, a lot of things with sci-fi. You can do the same thing with fantasy, but it's little bit harder. I think so.
Right.
That's true.
And Steve?
Sci-fi.
Okay. Cool. All right, and we'll wrap up with this last one here. Dave, what if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
The superpower that I would have would be, I don't know, what would you call it? The ability. Damn, you put me on the spot.
You can always come back to you.
It would be like super knowledge. I would want to know the power. I would want to have the power to. If you asked me where a hidden object was, I would want to know where that object is. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to have that, rather than super strength or fly or vision or something like that. I'd want to something like Doctor Strange, where you'd go to this guy and say, "Oh, where's my missing daughter? Oh, your missing daughter is buried in the woods in a shallow grave, or your daughter's in San Francisco, peddling flowers on a corner or something like that." It's not really a superhero, but it could be used as like a cult detective or something like that.
It's like a psychometry, I guess, like being able to read that energy to be able to place an object or place a person or whatever.
Yeah, maybe it would be like. Did Madame Xanadu have something like that? Could she do something like that?
I don't know.
Well, you're a DC guy, right? She was a DC.
Batman.
That's always good, Batman.
It's always about Batman.
Well, except for the new Batman. That looks like it's going to be a tremendous piece of shit, and I'll go on record as saying that I hate Ben Affleck with a burning passion of 1,000 suns.
Wow.
We don't talk about that movie.
All right, so some kind of weird psychometry. All right.
Yeah.
That's a new one. Sarah, what about you?
Superpower, let me think about it. Probably shape-shifting.
Changeling, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right, we're getting more into like a not so much superpower as
Charles Blunt kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Steve, what about you?
That's always changed over the years, but in high school it always would be to be invisible. To go sneaking into different rooms and stuff. But you know what I mean. And my kids are watching, But now it would be to be indestructible. Walk away from a plane crash, train crash, whatever. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like Unbreakable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Take a bullet.
Yeah. All right, that's all I've got, Vince, unless you have something else.
I think it was fairly comprehensive. That was fun, too.
Yeah, that was.
Good.
Yeah.
There's always a small amount of trepidation when we're getting ready to do something like this and, get new people on. And this was like, oh, man, I don't know. And then we get in, and it's always a good time. We always have a good time. It seems like the guests are always having a good time. At least nobody's told us anything differently.
Well, a question for you guys. After hearing your lineup of guests the other night, it seems like you're really going to be focusing on sort of Lovecraftians for quite a while. Is that a conscious thing?
That's a product. That's a product of Necronomicon, and when we first launched the site, actually, we're using that as a springboard. And we've made a lot of friends, a lot of contacts in the Lovecraft e-zine / Necronomicon area. So you will see quite a few guests.
I'm looking forward to them. Why don't you give everybody your a lineup of your scheduled guests?
Oh, I have to pull up the calendar. So I think next week, Tuesday the 22nd, we've got Pete Rawlik, author Pete Rawlik. He's going to come on for a drunken ramble.
It's called Under the Tabletop.
Under the Tabletop, right? Should probably trademark that. The following week, I think on the 30th, we're going to have Mike Davis to come in, and so we can let him know all of your thoughts, Dave, about what he should be doing with the e-zine. Then on the 3rd of January, we're going to have Chris Lackey from the H.P. Lovecraft Literary Podcast talk about all kinds of nerdy type stuff. And we had Jason McKittrick scheduled this past week. He had a situation at home that required his attention, so we're going to get him rescheduled, hopefully for January, and talk about all the things he's got going on, like his Parcel of Terror and all the crafts and stuff that he's doing, which are really amazing. So for the next month or so, we have a heavy dose of Lovecraftians on the podcast. We had Oscar Rios and Adam Scott Clancy, and like Vince said, a lot of the contacts and friends that we've made came from our experience at Necronomicon this past year. So they figure heavily into the things that we have going on here, and you guys as well. Look to see that come and go as people have different projects and stuff coming up. We have a lot of Kickstarter interviews and things that we're also being a part of. We'll have a couple of more of those coming up here. We have Scott Hansen has a Kickstarter coming up either in January or February, so we'll have him on. And oh crap, I can't think of the other game. We have another game, Michael McCoy I can't think of his name. Now I feel like an asshole. Let me pull it up real quick because I want to give good information. Waiting for slow internets.
Yes.
Let's see. Yep, it's Michael McCoy, and it is. Damn it. It doesn't say. But it's a post-apocalyptic cooperative survival game taking approximately 15 to 30 minutes.
That's pretty good.
And we have a copy of it now, which I am still working on playing. Sorry, Mike. I'm scrolling through emails to try to get the name of the company. God damn it. Oh well, we'll have him on. The name of the game is called After Days. Developed by Dice Made Me Do It. There we go. So we'll have them on. Their Kickstarter drops in February, at least tentatively scheduled for February. So we'll have them on as well. So that's all we have. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank guys and gals for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a distinct pleasure and great fun. Thank you so much.
Yep. If you guys have anything coming up in the future that you want to pimp, then definitely keep us in mind. We'll definitely have you on. Try to get everything out there as far as possible.
Cool.
So,
Awesome.
all right. Well, thanks.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right.
All right.
Bye. Thank you for inviting me, guys.
Yeah, thanks again. Take care.
Yeah, see you later, Dave.
Take care.
Thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
True.